I messed up my paperwork, so please give me a second. Anyway, I think this is a wonderful group. Congratulations to Todd and his outstanding, and I might say very attractive staff for arranging this conference. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm apparently Todd's booking agent for attorneys general. Because last year we invited our New York State Attorney General, Eric Schneiderman, to make opening remarks. And today we're highlighting the accomplishments of two attorney generals regarding their heroic and outstanding work regarding marriage equality and equality in general. I would like to add that Eric Schneiderman, when he was in the New York State Senate, was a very, very strong advocate and a force, actually, in helping to pass marriage equality in New York State. He also played an active role in my wedding ceremony in 2011. So he put his money where his mouth was. I'm going to introduce the attorneys general in alphabetical order. Jack Conway, the handsome fellow in the middle, is currently serving his second term as Attorney General of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. During his tenure as AG, he has distinguished himself amongst his fellow Attorney Generals, having served on the Executive Committee of the National Association of Attorneys General, as well as the co-chair of the Democratic Attorney General Association. Prior to his election as AG, Jack practiced as a private attorney and spent 6 years in senior-level cabinet positions in the administration of former Kentucky Governor Paul Patton. Jack's legacy from that role includes comprehensive school safety legislation and tougher sentences on violent offenders. U.S. District Court Judge John Hayburn's 2014 rule regarding the anti-constitutionality of the Kentucky law banning same-sex marriage was the first such decision in a southern state. Given the political and the social demographic of Kentucky, and the fact that he was contemplating a run for governor at the time, which by the way he is now, Jack's decisive and heroic decision not to defend Kentucky's ban on same-sex marriage in court was probably not the most expedient thing to do politically. As a lawyer, and the fact that he is the state's chief law enforcement officer, Jack came to the inescapable conclusion that to defend Kentucky's ban on same-sex marriage would actually be equivalent to defending discrimination. As a practicing Catholic, Jack knew his decision would put him at odds with church leaders in his hometown. His thinking was shaped partly by statements made by Pope Francis, who I might add is probably the first Democrat Pope that we've had, I think, who encouraged openness towards gays when he made his now famous statement, "Who am I to judge?" A statement which, in fact, coincides with Jack's own philosophy of life. In recognition of his courage and leadership, in 2014, Jack Conway was awarded the Ernesto I spelled this wrong. Ernesto who?
Scorsone.
Scorsone, thank you. Political Leadership Award, an award presented annually to community leaders in Kentucky who actively demonstrate personal courage in standing up for equality and fairness. Other accomplishments of Attorney General Conway include protecting Kentucky's working-class families against special interests, fighting the scourge of prescription drug abuse, advocating for consumers and veterans, and cracking down on cyber criminals to make the internet a safer place for children. Jack is married to Elizabeth Davenport Conway, and they are the proud parents of two daughters, Eva and Alex. I might also add that Jack most probably will be the next governor of Kentucky. While this is not a campaign appearance by myself or by Jack, I'd like to make the serious point that while the election campaign in Kentucky hasn't really started, the opponents are already viciously, publicly attacking him for his stance on same-sex marriage equality. And of course, he's continuing his positive message, which focuses on equality, job creation, investing in the state's education system, and physical infrastructure. I'm now going to introduce Attorney General Mark Herring. After a very close and very hotly contested election, Mark Herring was sworn in as the 48th Attorney General of Virginia in January of 2014. He is the first Democrat elected to the office in almost a quarter of a century. Previously, Mark had spent 8 years representing one of the nation's fastest growing counties in the Virginia State Senate. Mark's first year as AG is marked by much activity and much success. Having succeeded a right-wing AG, Herring had many wrongs to right, and he brought a more modern approach to the office. They now have telephones, typewriters, things like that. Right? Yeah. Mark Herring is the first Attorney General in the nation to argue successfully in court that his state's ban on marriage by same-sex couples violates the U.S. Constitution. He reversed the position of his predecessor, Ken Cuccinilli, thus placing the Commonwealth of Virginia on the right side of law and the right side of history. Being the determined litigator that he is, A.G. Herring actually fought in court to have the marriage ban struck down every step of the way. He was in court at the district and the appellate level, arguing that the ban must be struck down. Mark actually participated and remained in the case, or on the case, I don't know what you lawyers say, the entire time, arguing the legalities of the case as well as advancing the cause of equality. In fact, members of the Virginia State's General Assembly began, but failed, an attempt to impeach Mark because of his fight for marriage equality and against discrimination. As AG Mark Herring he also reversed the apparent misguided interpretation of an existing law by the previous state administration, which had the effect of precluding dreamers. Dreamers are the children of undocumented parents who are actually recognized as lawfully present by the federal government. The previous administration precluded them from qualifying for in-state tuition. Mark's work made it clear that, in fact, the Dreamers do qualify pursuant to federal law. Thanks to Mark Herring, the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services have thus amended their website to support and share nationally what was done in Virginia. Mark is the first Bay State Attorney General to file a defense of the Chesapeake Bay cleanup plan in court against 21 other states who actually have no direct relationship with the Chesapeake Bay. Their only relationship is they don't want the EPA to clean up their state. So it speaks for itself. Attorney General Herring won passage of an important public safety legislation in Virginia's General Assembly, which included measures to help protect victims of stalking and witnesses of violent crimes, as well as measures to fight dangerous synthetic drugs. Mark Herring certainly had a busy and a very constructive first year in office. Mark lives with his wife, Laura, and has 2 children, daughter Peyton, who's a senior at UVA, and son Tim, who's in his first year at the College of Worcester in Ohio. Virginia has term limits, and many of us, I can't speak for everybody in this room, are hoping that Mark will run and be governor of Virginia in the very near future. Thank you.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm not.
I apologize.
Don't worry.
How can I forget? I did. Anyway, I'd like to introduce Simon Hobbs. Simon is the moderator of this panel. I get carried away with politically, so that's why. Simon is an anchor based at the network's global headquarters in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey. He currently co-anchors the 10 a.m. hour of CNBC's Squawk on the Street, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Live from the New York Stock Exchange. Simon joined CNBC in 1998. Previously, he was based at CNBC in London, where he had anchored European Closing Bell and Europe Tonight, whatever that means. Hobbs also globetrotted.
We don't need to go through this. It's okay. It's like, we're done, really.
An evening with Simon Hobbs. Hobbs also globetrotted to host The Leaders, a series of in-depth one-to-one interviews with the world's business and political elite. In 2006, Hobbs was named Television Personality of the Year by the Association of International Broadcasters and has hosted high-level international meetings for the European Union, the United States, the United Nations, the World Bank, and environmental non-governmental organizations. Hobbs cut his teeth as a journalist with a decade in radio producing some of the biggest names in UK broadcasting. His work for news organizations includes BBC, Reuters, and Sky News. Simon holds a Bachelor of Science degree with honors in economics from the University College London. So, welcome.
I'm slightly
Simon.
embarrassed. Mine's longer than everybody else's.
You're quite a guy.
I know.
I'm going to watch your show.
Thank you, Mitch.
9 a.m. to 12 p.m.